Welcome to a reading of Social Conundrums. Today I'm going to read Part 7. Anne. I arrived early to the headquarters of the Social Code Committee to await the long-anticipated decision of Mediator Kim. Slowly, I entered the small white-walled room, sitting down at the head of its only furniture, a large wooden table. A rueful smile touching my lips. Gershom had assisted me in coming up with this design. We both desired a venue that our ancient ancestors from the 21st century, the last true era of physicality, would recognize. The two of us even put forth a resolution that all committee members attend meetings in a human physical form. The vote was unanimous in our favor. It was the one and only time the committee could pass anything. It hurt now to think of those early days, a time when I believed that honest discussion between opposing points of view would bring about a new understanding. This meeting of the minds would then allow us to pass meaningful rules for the emerging inhabitants of the planet project. Now, all I wanted was to hear Mediator Kim's verdict and disband this enterprise. It would be a relief to go back to being a historical anthropologist, where I studied history instead of attempting to chart its course. Footsteps then interrupted my thoughts. Gershom entered the room. He wore the same physical appearance I remembered from when we first met. His tall frame and intelligent dark eyes could still make my heartbeat quicken. I lowered my gaze because things were not well between us. In fact, I'd not seen him in a few days because he claimed to be too involved in some project. Gershom hadn't been at all forthcoming about its details, and I was getting tired of his secrecy. "Good morning, Anne," he said, his tone surprisingly stiff and formal. It irked me. We were, after all, alone in the room. "So is this how it's going to be between us?" I asked, unable to hide my hurt. Gershom gave a heavy sigh. "Sorry. How are you?" he asked in a more natural-sounding voice. It didn't help. Something inside me started to unravel. "This isn't working, Gershom," I said, unable to pretend any longer. A sigh escaped as the realization dawned that maybe not only the committee, but us too should be coming to an end. "Either tell me what you have been doing, or we are finished," I said, throwing down the ultimatum. Surprise and then relief flowed over Gershom's countenance. "All right," he finally said. "But you aren't going to like it," he said, fixing his eyes on my own as I crossed my arms, an unimpressed look on my face. "I know that already," I scoffed. "Why else would you be keeping it a secret? But our relationship has always been based on honesty. The truth is not something we should be avoiding." Gershom didn't disagree. "My supporters and I are not planning on endorsing Mediator Kim's recommendation. We will fight it." "You haven't even heard it yet," I responded, not exactly shocked, but upset that he wouldn't even consider the decision. "I don't have to," he stated. "I'm not as enamored with Kim's prowess in this area as you are." "Of course not," I said, my face heating up at his comment. "You're too arrogant to even consider an opinion that differs from your own." The two of us now stood, eyes locked, waves of anger flowing between us. Then Sandra entered the room. I broke eye contact to plaster a smile on my face in greeting. She, however, wasn't deceived, her eyes flickering between us as Gershom gave her a curt nod and sat down in his chair. As one of the committee members who supported me, Sandra selected the chair next to my own. Her arrival opened the floodgates as the remaining committee members started sitting down. There was no time for Gershom and I to discuss the situation further. All eyes, however, were soon diverted to the last person to enter the room, Mediator Kim. That ends Social Conundrums, Part 7. Part 8 will be read next week. To read this futuristic fantasy blog series, visit www.reneeannhughes.com. If you would like to contribute to this series, please feel free to become a patron on Patreon. Details for joining are on my website, www.reneeannhughes.com, and also please subscribe to this YouTube channel so you won't miss any new videos. Goodbye, and thanks for listening.